Hi guys, Rich from Trackspark here. Hope everybody is well and had a nice Easter. Welcome to another little tutorial. This month I'm gonna do sort of layering synths. So as I said last month, I'm not gonna do another another tutorial on vocals. I've got a little bit of variation in there. So here goes. I'm gonna again, like as usual, try and keep it as short and sweet as possible. So I don't like really big long tutorials. I'm sure you guys don't either. Right, so layering synths. I do it all the time. I think most people do, whether you're in dance music, sort of cinematic music, orchestral music. People often layer pads and other synths underneath their strings and orchestra just to fatten up the mix, etc. So that's what I'm going to use this for, to give it a big dirty sort of fat element to this track. And you can see here, look, I've got 3 synths. I'll show you them individually in a minute, and I'll show you what I've done to them. And so hopefully all 3 are going to be better than any one on its own. And I'll show you what I did, where I came from. So let's have a quick listen to just the track really quickly, and you can see. So there you go. Let's have a quick listen to all 3 on their own, so we know what we're listening to. So it's like a big dirty synth, isn't it? A big like lower mid dirty synth sound to really fatten up. If I mute it and then listen. It sounds nice and clean, but there's a big hole in the mix. Listen. So there we go. I wanted it to be a big, obviously dirty. I keep saying the word, yeah. Grit, give it some balls. So first thing I'm going to do, actually, before anything else, is I'm going to group them so that they're all as one, 3 in 1. Right. So here we go. I've got a group channel here. I'm just going to name it Dirty Synths Group. I've not spelt that right. Dirty Synths Group. There we go. Right, and then I'm just gonna grab them all and then route them all through this Dirty Synths Group here. Okay, so they should all, I'm gonna colour it the same colour. Right, so they should all be in that group. Right, now let's have a listen to them individually. Let's get the control panel up here. So just basically all I've done is EQ them, so that they sit together, and I've taken each element that I want from each one and hopefully made them work together. Right, so let's listen to this first one. I've called it Brahms. So let's take off this EQ here that I've got, this Cambridge EQ, and I've got a little bit of EQ here on the control panel. So let's just take that off and listen. So it's bassy, dirty synth, but it's too so firstly I've just shelved off a lot of the sub, because I've got a sub up here that I want that's doing that, so I don't want any sub coming from this synth here. And you might ask, why have I just not used that as my bass? Because I want more control over my low end, so I've got a separate sub, yeah, which is why. Right, so I've just sort of taken that bottom end out there, and then it's basically, this is the synth that I started with. This was the sort of sound that I wanted. I decided, right, okay, I need something just to beef up that sort of lower mid area, and this is what I came up with. So, but it wasn't enough. So, so basically, then I found this trailer. It's like a big, deep trailer brass sound. So let's listen to this. So big horns. But again, you know, too much low end in it. So what I've done is taken out a little bit of low end there, and I didn't want any of this sort of raspiness on top either, because this has it. So what I've done, I've taken even more out the low end, and I've taken all the top end off, so I'm just left with the mid-range frequencies. But the sound that I wanted from these horns was that sort of nasally tone, so I've boosted it in the middle here quite a lot, so you can have a listen. That's with the bottom and the top out, but we can hear that real nasally sort of mid-frequency tone there that I've boosted to sit on top of these Brahms. Now, again, I've got another EQ on the Brahms, and I've just taken out even more, and I've taken out the top end, and I'll show you why I've taken the top end, because that was giving all the fuzziness. So let's see how these two sort of sit together. So I've got the main synth, and then I've got the nasally sound on top. But if I was to take this off, which sounds all right, it sounds nice as it is, but when I'm playing it sort of in context with a mix, those brass aren't really cutting through. So that's why I boosted those mid frequencies. So let's just have a quick listen. I'm going to mute this one and just show you. Can't really hear that brass, so that's so those mid-range frequencies, you could hear them coming through there, which is why I've sort of brought that characteristic out even more, because that's obviously what I wanted. So now let's go to this distorted synth here, and as you can see, I've taken all this sort of lower mids, and I've boosted it, you know, from 2K up. So basically, I've just got that sort of that fuzz. It's almost like just distorted noise. If we take the EQ off, it's a little bit like the Brahms sound, but obviously dirtier. So I've just taken, I didn't need any of those lower frequencies because I've got them from the other two synths. So I've just obviously taken those low out and boosted the top, and hopefully it will sit on top of these two nicely. There it is without. There it is with, really giving it some grit and bite. So let's just listen to the mix without the distorted synth, and then we'll put it in. Now putting it in. There we go. This is like a nice sort of fat synth that's really beefing out the mix now. And then finally, I think what I'll do is I'll just put a little bit of compression on, just some soft compression on, just so that I know that they're sort of sitting together. I'm pretty sure that they are, but let's do it for good measure. So I'm just going to put an LA2 on. The nice thing about the LA2 is it's really sort of transparent. Backing it off to about -1 there, so it's not doing loads. It warms up. These things are great. They warm up the sound as well, give it a bit more. But I'm just to -1, so that they're all sitting together and working as one entity. So that's the only reason I'm doing that. So yeah, let's have a quick listen to the final mix with them in and with them out, and then I'll play them individually again. Right, let's take the whole lot out. Let's do it individually. So we start with the Brahms. Here's with all of them. Like I said, a bit of a hole there. trailer brass in. Now finally the dirt on top. So there we go, that's how I layered those 3 synths, and like I said, I'd approach it probably exactly the same way if I was doing a dance tune with the main synth, and other ways, and other like, you know, orchestral music as well. So, hope that was okay for you guys, and have a great May. Can't believe it's May. Have a great May, and I'll speak to you in a month. Cheers, guys.